Chapter 2. Interior, vac tube, day. Low humming and shooping. Strafing refracted light bending and transforming in colour.
Late again, Alexandra Brontay!
The strapless watch face is embedded into a wrist, its hands attached to its nose, its face 3D, human and seemingly sentient. Several rods pulse in rhythm just beneath the skin of the user. A pair of female eyes narrow, beams of hard light reflect and bounce off the corneas.
Come on.
Shoddy timekeeping! Your profile indicates that you should have lower managerial access at this stage in your career, yet you have failed in this minimum aim. It is this type of behaviour that is inhibiting your progression.
Brontay is now altogether more scrubbed and urbanite in her business suit, cropped jet black bob. She makes plain Jane look like Jane Mansfield. She lies flat, prone and swaddled in translucent goo as the vessel shoots along and is just about recognisable as the same woman from the forest, a scrubbed and jaded version at least.
This job is killing me.
Exterior, homely cottage, morning. A glorious dewy morning frames this traditional cottage set in the picture-perfect English countryside. Daddy Bear, 68, a bespectacled, tank-topped, pot-bellied retiree, carefully tends to the roses in the immaculate back garden.
Breakfast, dear!
Oh, she'll be late for work again.
Mummy Bear, 65, a bun-headed, kindly old girl in a pinny.
No, I'll go get your breakfast.
Oh, I love you.
Oh, that's nice.
Interior. Brontay's flat bedroom. Morning. Somewhere in the middle of a huge bed is Brontay, beneath a duvet. Her arm is slung out, drooping off the edge of the bed. A simultaneously hideous but erotic tangle of conjoined naked female bodies dances silently around the dim chamber like a Hindu god. Her watch cranes out a digit, tapping her arm with some urgency.
Time for work! Stretches, shower, teeth, immediately please!
Darling, I really must insist you get up. You'll be getting another warning.
This job is killing me.
Your complaint has been registered, processed, and rejected.
Interior, vac tube, day. The rainbow spectrum bounces off the semi-opaque coffin cylinder.
Late again, Alexandra Brontay?
What a sanctimonious bitch.
Excuse me?
It shoots to a halt.
Do I have to?
Interior, arrivals hall, day. A huge, garishly coloured, man-made cavern with thousands of uprooted cylinder coffins parked in neat rows like organ pipes. This appears to be the last of them. Brontay's ride eases into the platform before rising 90 degrees. The lid slides open and she steps out, loping towards a huge set of double doors. Her white cotton panties protrude from the back of her jacket. Suddenly, more self-aware, she tucks them back in as she walks. At the doors is a grand clock face, almost identical to the gadget on her wrist, only deeper voiced and built to intimidate.
Punch in!
Need coffee. Man.
Punch in!
Good morning, my little fleur-de-lis. And how are you today?
The clock face extends from the door, mounted on a metallic gooseneck to a millimetre from her nose.
Excuse me.
Insert your digit register into the clock face immediately! Your obduracy has been registered!
As it retracts, Brontay pushes her index finger into a gooey texture between the eyes of the face. It sneers back at her. Interior, Grand Hall, day. The giant doors slide open, revealing a huge, open-plan crystal palace of an auditorium with thousands of semi-opaque hemispheres lined up in rows like turtle eggs on a beach. It might be impressive on first sight, but to Brontay it is her daily prison. Interior, dome, day. All exterior sound is cut off inside the dome. The space seems to expand, and the bare, beige, gel-based furniture is replaced by a Chesterfield suite and a hardwood office design as Brontay steps inside. She massages her temples and clutches a mug of coffee for dear life.
Office Live 0902. Brontay, you lazy bitch. Read your incoming mail. And cheer up.
She flinches at the deep, piped version of her own voice before nodding, trying to massage the headache away as she gingerly perches on the sofa. Without warning, Simpkin, 40, a perfectly bent-faced chap with even bigger bags under his eyes and a Shatner belt across his soft middle, appears next to her, immediately in her face.
Simpkin, do you have to? I've got work to do, and I'm late.
Whose fault is that?
Get off my case.
How about drinks at Sir Samantha's tonight?
You tried to finger me.
I sure did not.
Simpkin puffs himself up, a haughty, naughty schoolboy.
Just piss off. Sex pest.
You coming tonight or what? Or you got a hot date?
Yeah, okay. But no shenanigans.
Love you. Love your work.
Simpkin pinches her cheek.
Ball bag.
Simpkin vanishes.
But you still choose to go, baby.
Elvis Presley, 33, in his black leather comeback jumpsuit, replaces Simpkin on the sofa. Brontay nods in resignation.
I'd sure like to love you tender right now, but I have to remind you, darling. You got a job to do. Boo-hoo.
Better give me my appointments then. And a painkiller. My sciatica's killing me.
Feel the scratch, Colonel.
A needle shoots out of the sofa and into her backside.
Ah! Ugh.
Pity you.
More exercise and physiotherapy are recommended. An injured employee quickly becomes a liability and an unnecessary expense.
Shush now. I've got a job to do. I'm very important, aren't I? Just like all these other very important people here that I never talk to.
Quit whining, Buttercup. They'll warn your sweet little ass.
Your complaint has been registered, processed, and rejected.
Oh!
Brontay gurns and takes a deep breath. Elvis vanishes and is replaced by a stiff-backed, bald man of 50 in a three-piece suit. Sim. He checks his pocket watch and sniffs at Brontay before pixelating for an instant.
You have reached the abode of Mr. Philip K. Densmore. I am his virtual finance manager representative, and I will be assessing your pitch. You have 30 seconds.
Brontay emits her biggest, most synthetic, shit-eating sales grin.
Great then!
Exterior. London, day. Apart from the clear, immaculate and empty roads, there isn't much left of London still standing. The ruins of the Houses of Parliament are taken in as we snake west along the Thames and pick up on a huge dome, gateway to millions of colours behind the translucence. Its crystalline magnificence contrasts with the desolation of a dead city. A Harley-Davidson roadster emerges from the dome and cruises out onto Chelsea Embankment, growling. The rider is Saul Hardiman, 18, lime green quiffed hair, Brando jacket, lit Marlborough in mouth. He saw the poster and became the boy. It grumbles and rumbles along with impossible elan for a vintage hog. Overhead, a flying disc descends and scans the bike with a red beam. Hardiman winks at the pilot and turns the throttle. Satisfied, the disc hovers away. Hardiman accelerates much faster than such a bike should let him. A face appears on his dashboard, curtailing his fun and replacing the speedo. Mannycapra, 30. Silver-haired, crew-cut. One eye blue, the other green. Eerily immaculate. Hardiman takes his hands off the bars and the bike steers itself, a thin, clear, protective membrane just about visible around him for a second.
Yo, boss! Coming already!
Exterior. Hampstead Homestead. Day. A pair of ornate gates open for Hardiman, and he cruises into the deserted but perfectly manicured driveway and grounds of a Georgian mansion. Exterior, mansion house, day. Hardiman's fingernails are painted with classic yellow smiley faces. The mouths flip to sad. He presses a digit on the doorbell. It chimes. The door opens, revealing a decrepit Alec Guinness dressed as a butler.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hardiman shoves past.
Need a long, hard piss.
Interior boardroom, day. Beams of sunlight strafe across the long mahogany table from the giant stained-glass bay window within the Gothic interior. The glass depicts the gunfight at the OK Corral and animates an exchange of fire. Two figures perch at the end of the table by a roaring hearth. The room and table expand and contract in a breathing rhythm. Wood creaks and stretches. Hardiman chews his fists and lights up another smoke. Mannycapra waves his arm in disapproval. He gets up to stoke the fire.
But she's my baby! You can't do this! No!
Mannycapra's eyes glow as the embers ignite.
The rating's Hardy. You said it yourself.
Hardiman stubs his cigarette out on the table. A beat. He stamps his foot.
Don't you think you should go easy on the treatments for a while?
It's not fucking fair.
Mannycapra grips the stoker and in a sudden fury brings it down on Hardiman's skull. He swings it again and again, blood and brain matter squirting up over his black jeans and t-shirt. A perfect glee growing about his eyes. Interior, boardroom, day. Hardiman is fine, if still a petulant little shit. Mannycapra continues to stoke the fire.
It's your birthday soon, sonny boy. Think happy thoughts.
Hardiman screws his face up in melodramatic teenage angst. Interior. So Samantha's. Night. Tacky in any era doesn't even come close to this clip joint. Brontay sips a neat scotch through a straw, checking out the pond life, much of which has stayed away tonight. Drunk punters approach each other, a digital countdown clock on their lapels running down from 48 hours in hours, minutes, seconds. Brontay's is on 47:38. Insert. A grand neon sign above the entrance. Welcome to the world-famous So Samantha's. Fancy a bit of real? Under company rules, you've got 48 hours to date and mate. Over by the bar, Brontay looks at her feet, even more convinced this evening was a mistake. Simpkin is winking at everything that moves, reeking of desperation and faux confidence.
Look, what I'm trying to say is...
You'd rather stay home and flick yourself off, or get your magic dome to do it for you? Same difference, mate. You know why we come here. It's high time you got some. Tonight's the night. Can't you feel it?
A cheap hologram of a topless hostess serves them drinks and dematerialises. Male and female counterparts pop up periodically to serve the smattering of other barflies. All male.
Boring old recycled shit everywhere.
Your complaint has been registered, processed and rejected. Me.
How are you supposed to do something meaningful in 48 fucking hours?
Yup, you'll soon stop bleating when a hot and saucy one is inches from your lips.
He simulates cunnilingus.
Ugh.
She rolls her eyes and looks at her lapel counter.
I, for one, am not going to take whinging about the rules or your crippling shyness as an excuse for, oh my God, look at that.
Oh, what?
Across the circular bar is a velveteen dream poured into a dress. Katia Kutz, 21. She nurses a martini and stands with a poise and grace more indicative of old Hollywood glamour. Elvis slips past her, tipping a wink. Simpkin looks upon her like a slavering hyena on a zebra.
Simulation. Head to ass to toe.
No way.
Simkin smirks and pats her across the cheek.
Watch and learn, Lexi B.
What about me?
You've got the whole place to yourself. Fill your boots.
Oh, cheeky bastard. You get me here for moral support and then you leave me.
Brontay scratches her head as Simkin snakes his way around the bar, half strutting, half dancing.
Another.
A hostess appears and pours another scotch. Brontay sees the vamp smile at Simkin as he begins to loiter in her personal space.
What makes idiots like that so confident? Thrown off mud at all?
Don't ask me, I'm not real.
Now you're breaking the dream. And my heart.
I do know what sarcasm is, though.
Brontay necks her drink, no straw this time. She taps the glass.
Company policy suggests that you consume no more than 3 units of alcohol in one sitting. You have had over 3 times that, Miss Brontay.
Is there a law against it? No? Then pour it, Pooch.
The hostess processes this for a second. Brontay keeps her gaze on Simkin as Kutz speaks into his ear. The smug grin slides off his face like shit off a spoon. He glances back towards Brontay and sneers, his cheeks reddening. Brontay is bemused. Kutz winks at her and cranes a finger. Brontay checks that it is her being summoned. Yes. She starts away from her bar stool, but Simkin heads her off at the pass.
Well, time out, pop bitch.
Get out of my way.
Fish stinks stronger than meat, and you reek of desperation, baby.
Oh, shut up.
Kutz points at her timer, which is down to 47:55, and then at her wrist. She cranes her finger at Brontay again.
I want to marry that woman.
Company policy states that relationships lasting longer than 48 hours are prohibited in the standard employee contract.
Listen to her. I smell a big fucking rat. In all seriousness, Alexandra.
Sore loser.
Your statement invalidates.
Brontay places a finger on the lips of the hostess, hard light fizzing off her face, making her semi-opaque.
Get him a large one, will you?
Brontay pushes past Simkin, as if she has suddenly seen the light. Kutz smiles as Brontay approaches. It seems like everyone else in the room has disappeared. We're into Kutz's POV now, as her gawky mark approaches, looking painfully uncool, yet trying to be the opposite. Insert. Overlaid on the screen is a still shot of Simkin, with a list of vital statistics, including DNA profiling. At the bottom is match probability 0.2845%. On the other side is similar data for Brontay, with match probability 82.4929%. rising to 87.82752% as she reaches Kutz. The view clears. Brontay sweats, a lump in her throat. She offers a limp handshake.
I don't believe I've seen you here before.
Back away from Kutz's POV, the vamp rolls her eyes.
Oh, please. I haven't got time for this, honey.
Brontay looks devastated.
Was it something...
You said no.
Do you...
Want a drink? No.
Are you...
I'm not going to finish your questions for you all night. Petal.
Petal?
Are you up for this? Or not? Or do you want to play fingers and thumbs again with Mr. Simkin?
How do you know...
You can do so much better.
Kutz taps on Brontay's timer. Brontay glances over to Simkin, who sneers back on eye contact, necking another shot. Kutz shakes her head. She tosses the timer badge on the bar.
You can't do that.
I really need to know now, you see. I've got even less time than you to hang around.
Brontay casts a glance over Kutz's flawless body. She nods. They make their way out of the bar. Back with Simkin, he watches on and shakes his head. He glances at his watch, the hands moving at a furious rate as the face issues him a stern, muted telling off.
Another.
The hostess watches Kutz and Brontay leave, ignoring him.
Hey, you synthetic tart. I said another. Oi! Service? This place is shit.
She speaks to him without removing her gaze from the departing couple.
Your complaint has been registered and processed and rejected.
From the POV of the hostess, the exchange with Brontay is rewinding and fast-forwarding in a corner window as she watches them exit. Brontay looks a little creeped out as Kutz caresses her neck. Simpkin's gestures are muted. Insert. Suspicious activity report in progress. Uploading to server. Exterior. So Samantha's. Night. Kutz's hair transforms from blonde to scarlet as they leave, her makeup and outfit shifting simultaneously into a more practical jumpsuit. She continues to stroke Brontay's neck.
That's a neat trick, Miss... I didn't catch your name, sorry?
They've already made an ID.
I beg your pardon?
A souped-up old black BMW with tinted windows appears from nowhere and skids to a halt, the boot popping up as it stops.
Wasn't talking to you, Petal.
Petal?
Close, on Kutz's hand, as she applies pressure to Brontay's neck. A needle shoots out of her fingernail, piercing the flesh.
Oh!
Kutz smiles at her prey and takes her wrist. She twists the watch face and it pulls away, leaving a bloody gap.
What is your game?
Taxidermy.
Brontay wobbles on her feet, woozy. Brontay's eyes roll to the back of her head. As she collapses, Kutz catches her falling body and shoves her into the boot in one easy move. She places a mask over her unconscious victim's nose and mouth before a thin, semi-liquid, transparent membrane seeps over her body, dissolving her clothes instantly to bare flesh. The boot slams shut. Kutz takes a deep breath and scans her surroundings for a moment. The blasted heath that is East London's Docklands cuts a skyline of jagged ruins across the purple night. Stray signatures of hard light dance up into the atmosphere from beneath the ground, like St. Elmo's fire, reanimating the desolation.
And I used to love this town.
The rear passenger door swings open. She tosses the watch.
Yeah, I know. Time's a wasting.
She spits on the ground and jumps in the car. It skids away and strafes off at super speed into the night. The hands on Brontay's disembodied watch spin like crazy as the face gurns, cross-eyed and manic. It explodes in a brief flash.
The future is. Hail folk, hail vanity, hail you. More episodes soon. Subscribe.